Speaking of problems, I feel some responsibility for this because I laughed last week when they advertised this match. I said, why would they do this? And somebody's going to get hurt. I just didn't imagine it would be the second youngest person in the match, I think. Or at least the second best looking. Nyla Rose and Vickie Guerrero in a mixed tag against Britt Baker and Reba. And obviously, as I said, it's a mixed tag because it's a manager and wrestler against a manager and wrestler. I know what everybody's, well, and most people's current gender are. Anyway, it's still a mixed tag match. Why did at first I was like, why are they doing this to Vickie Guerrero? She's not a wrestler. She's never been a wrestler. She's, I assume, in her early 50s. And why put her in this position? I was afraid she might get hurt because some of these other people involved, it's not past them that they've hurt people before. And the first thing that happened, the very first thing in the match was Reba pushed Vickie. And she really fell down without meaning to. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. I watched this match pretty closely because I hate to say it, but I felt something was going to happen.
Something was going to happen.
I knew it. I just knew it.
And so Reba pushes Vickie, and she got off balance and fell down on her ass. And then, of course, Jericho, who's still doing commentary. Boy, he was a lot more entertaining the first few weeks of COVID. And Vickie got shoved on her duff. But besides the fact that you couldn't figure out what the fuck to think about this match, because who are the heels? Who are you supposed to cheer for? Whose side were you supposed to be on? Who did you want to see win this? This was foolish from the start to put this together. You've got a heel champion and her manager against a heel challenger and her manager. Marks would think, oh, well, that makes it perfect. No. Makes it where nobody gives a shit except to watch in case somebody's going to do something horribly dangerous, awkward, clumsy, and get hurt. Nyla Rose beat Reba up. Britt Baker wouldn't tag in. They tagged Vickie in right as they went to break, and I never watched the picture-in-picture because it's so minute and there's no commentary, but what the fuck? I'm going to keep an eye on this. During the picture-in-picture, they tagged Vickie in, and Reba got her hands on Vickie, but Nyla Rose was out. Vickie's not only partner, but also her big wrestler, was out on the floor pulling a table out from under the ring for no apparent reason, while the manager is getting beat up. Except she wasn't getting beat up because Reba got her hands on Vickie, but they did almost nothing, almost completely nothing, and then Vickie just walked over and tagged out. And then Nyla Rose, who had pulled the table out, gets back in the ring and gets a hold on Reba and keeps it for the rest of the picture-in-picture. And then there was none for about a minute while there was more commercials. And when they came back on the air, boy, the old Rodney Dangerfield line, I've never seen dead people sitting up before. I know you're out there. I can hear you breathing. Dead silence in the arena, and Nyla is still on poor Reba. And then Britt Baker tagged in when Nyla was down, thinking that she could get the advantage, but Nyla chokeslammed her, then set her up on the ropes where she's hanging, Britt's hanging by her waist over the top rope with her head in the ring, and Nyla Rose did that thing where she goes up and does the knee drop to the back of the head off the top rope onto the person hanging on the rope. Did that look really good to you, Brian?
Well,
it looked really convincing to me.
Really good is an interesting way of putting it. I've seen her do that move before to like Riho, but it's a big size difference, and she just wiped her out. I've never seen, again, I didn't have a close-up, but it looked like her knee hit the back of her head right where it connects with the neck. It looked stiff as fuck to me, but again, I'm not a wrestler. But that looked, I've seen her wipe people out and hit it hard before. That looked really bad. I thought Britt was fucked up.
It looked good, as we say in the bit. It looked good, all right. Yeah, it looked about 16 stitches worth of good. That's what I told Dundee one time. Anyway, so she covers her, and Reba makes the save, and apparently diagnose the injury from looking at the video. That's been out that she dislocated her kneecap, but you could watch as she came in the ring. She took 3 purposeful steps to go for that save, and on the second one, it looked like her leg gave out. So it was a Nash running across the ring. Instead of quad, it was a fucking kneecap dislocation. And she went down and stayed there. And while she's laying there, and Nyla Rose tries to pick her up, and she says something to Nyla Rose, I assume along the lines of, I can't fucking get up. And so Nyla Rose just drags her to the apron, and everybody just ignores her and goes about the rest of the finish while she's laying there unable to fucking stand up. Nyla Rose, and they had this finish, would have been horrible if it was performed by competent professionals, but this was especially rotten. Nyla Rose goes to the top rope like she's going to jump off onto Britt Baker, but Vickie Guerrero grabs Britt's feet. But Vickie has her back to Nyla Rose. So what she was going to do, we don't have any idea because there was nothing that was possible for her to do in that position. But Britt Baker kicks Vickie backwards. She knocks Nyla Rose off the top rope. And then Vickie falls forward in what looked like an attempted drop toe hold, and Britt Baker pinned her, and it looked as phony as a football bat. And then Nyla Rose attacks Britt Baker and gives her a power bomb while Reba is still laying there. Now the doctor has come over and is attending to her after about a minute or so. She's still laying there, and then Vickie Guerrero is up and tells Nyla Rose, powerbomb Britt Baker off the apron through the table. Remember the table that Nyla Rose had set up 10 minutes ago, and it was not needed and never came into play, and it was completely fucking nonsense? This was the reason for the nonsense. 10 minutes ago, she knew that she was going to powerbomb Britt Baker through that table. Fuck this phony shit. Fuck it. So now she power bombs Britt Baker off the apron through a table to the floor. And now not only the heel women's champion, but her heel manager have both been hospitalized. One probably in a shoot way and one in a working way, and left laying by another heel and her manager. Fucking Jesus Christ. But I must admit, I figured poor Vickie might get hurt. I didn't dream it would be Reba and that she would do it on her own. I thought Nyla Rose might land on somebody.
I hate to say it, but I thought something would happen with Rebel, just because in my head I always think about that match with her against Shelly Martinez in Impact, which was like the worst match of all time.
But she just got off crutches.
I understand. You know what? A little while back, I forget what show, we were having a discussion about, it was about Bianca Belair. And I'm not making this about her, but just about the size of women in wrestling. And you and I talking about different women. And I said there are certain women that are frail that maybe shouldn't be in the ring. And I'm not saying she shouldn't be in the ring.
Reba doesn't look frail.
I'm not talking about Reba. And hopefully she came out of this completely okay, but I get worried every time I see Britt Baker that she's going to get seriously hurt. We've seen her get hurt.
Yeah.
But, that Nyla Rose
she doesn't have a lot of meat on her bones.
I thought the Nyla knee drop really hurt her bad. And then she got up, I was like, okay, wow, she worked me. She's good. I'm sure she'll be sore in the morning, but she's good, all things considered. And then the fucking powerbomb through the table and the way she hit and the way she was selling it. I don't know. A lot of the shit's completely unnecessary, too. The match was unnecessary.
And here's another thing.
And everyone knew what this match was and was going to be before it took place. Nobody had any misconceptions about what this match was.
It was not possible for this to be a good match, but at least it could have been a safer match. And again, Reba did it to herself, but she dislocates her kneecap just making a save, and they still go through with, let's powerbomb this 125-pound woman from 6 feet above the concrete through a table to the floor. Fuck. And Not even taking into account her physical well-being, just taking into account how much worse can you make the wrestling business look and how much harder can you make it on the people involved in it. That 120-pound girl gets power bombed from that height through a table to the floor. What are you going to do to a grown man? Run over him with a fucking Brinks truck. One of those trucks that brings and collects the money from the ATMs. They need to get hit with that for it to be the same thing. So some idiot will go out and get a Brinks truck and run over somebody with it because you got to always top everything. It's fucking ridiculous. If Britt Baker is not in the hospital in traction for 6 to 8 weeks and reported as so every week on their television program, then they just made that fake. Because I'm sorry, she's a fucking girl. She's a fucking girl, and somebody's got to have some fucking context, some fucking restraint, and a little goddamn level-headed logic. If you do that to a fucking girl and she lives, then what are you going to do to a 6'6", 250-pound man if you could ever find one in the land of Lilliput here and these lollipop guild motherfuckers? Go ahead. Getting hot.
I don't even remember what I was going to jump in and say there. There was something you said that triggered a thought in my head, and
you were triggered.
I was triggered for a moment there.
A girl, a power bomb. What else you going to have to do? It makes it phony. It makes it harder on everybody.
Oh, I was going to say, the only person that's taken that move and really been hurt has been Shaq.
Yeah.
When you brought up the move, I'm thinking Britt Baker, she's laid up. She'll be all right. She'll be back next week. Shaq's the only one that got hurt so badly, he vanished.
The power bomb is only effective on people that are over 7 feet tall and over 350 pounds.